Hey, how you doing? All right. Queen's Gambit declined, throughout my career I did not succeed in winning very many games from the great Dr. Emanuel Asker. Strangely enough, I won this game from him the first time we ever met across the board. 40 years later, I won my last game with Dr. Lasker, and it proved to be the last important game of his life. The game shows the great resilience of the then world champion. After I had won a piece, he all but drew. After I won a piece, he all but drew. Oh, okay. He won this one against Dr. Lasker. Okay. E4, D5. One sec, let me get a drink. It's A4. There we go. Then pawn to D4, E4. For a number of years, I was fond of this move. In similar positions, eventually I discarded it as it cannot lead to a permanent initiative. Doesn't have any initiative advantage to it. It began to appear as if white will have trouble with his queenside pawns. A3, bishop takes, knight check, and then b takes c3. Queen to rook 5. This was a Emanuel Lasker novelty, as I like to say. Bishop, bishop d2 to guard this pawn. Knight to knight 5 to attack the bishop and the pawn. Knight to f5, f3. Then he played actually a kind of very dubious move here, Dr. Lasker did. There's no reason to walk into a pin. Although carefully analyzed, proven this move would be playable, the result it acquires are very hardly worth the risk that it's involved in. So basically, Marshall says that he walked into a pin, and why would you walk into a pin like that and then for just a pawn? It's not worth it. That's basically what he's saying. Pawn takes pawn. Exclam. Queen to knight here. Pawn takes. Knight takes. And then queen to king 5 check. Freeing himself from the terrible pin, but there is a response that could actually happen too, and threatening the knight at the same time. Hence, black's response is forced. That's why he took here, and that move gets an exclam mark for white. So, knight takes queen, bishop takes queen, knight to b2, and pawn to queen pawn to there. The following critical idea is this stops the knight from advancing. The only reply to the threat is actually here and winning the knight. So pawn to c6 is another exclam setup because bishop takes, and then knight here is he's trying to get rid of the bishop here. Bishop to king 5, and this is trying to get the knight out, but that really doesn't do anything. That does actually nothing. Pawn f3, pawn f6, It's actually a mistake by white. He's saying that best would have actually been pawn takes bishop, pawn takes knight, and then bishop b3 is with an easy win, because knight takes the rook pawn, and then rook takes knight with an easy win here. Because how is he gonna basically he'll have to raise knight out here, and then we basically castle if we can. But he kind of got a little too greedy. Bishop to c2. King to d2. Knight takes the rook pawn. Knight takes bishop. Knight takes. King takes. Knight to d3. This actually wins a piece now because you can't go there, 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 and can't go there, can't go there, and then can't go there. None of these spots are accessible to the knight. None of them. Knight there, so pawn takes, knight, pawn takes. Black has managed to secure 3 pawns for the piece, and white still has his work cut out for him. Knight to c5. Knight to f4 actually would have been a better. Wins the queen pawn, simply wins the pawn, because if black is to castle, then you can actually potentially pick there. So white, he can't really castle. If he pushes, that still wins the pawn, because now you're threatening a check here. And if he he can't really do anything. If he tries to bring his knight out, then you play there. If he tries that, you can take. Actually, you don't have to take, sorry. Just grab the pawn. And that's what he's talking about, winning the pawn. Okay, he attacks the knight. Bishop checks, b5. King b2. Knight to rook 4. And then knight. '25. Yeah, if bishop takes, then this rook would actually slide over, and and it's not worth giving that up, so no, he didn't do that. He's saying that if this move here, knight here, and there's really no useful checks, nothing that he really can do. So that's why he just moved his knight back. He's saying not this move, because if knight were to take, yeah, I should have a rook move here. And black's queen pawns are now harmless, and white can basically combine the job. This actually is, this is not a good idea for white. He's trying to go after this one. See if he can't take scope on that one. And here, white now disregards the king rook pawn because he still intends to work on the queen side pawns first. The queen side pawns can't last long now. If he had played we played rook here, but if he had played rook takes pawn, then king up to here, it takes its time. It's trying to get the knight in here. Go after the king. Check. Pound. After winning the pawn, the rest is easy. Rook 2, Queen 4. Knight to king, check. Takes rook. It's trying to hold. And here black resigned, as there's no way now to take advantage of anything. Black resigned here. Are you ready to do some puzzles now? You guys want to do some puzzles? Let's put a that's where we pick up next time. Let's do some puzzles. Let's see, board editor. Clear the board. Let's see here. That's good. 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 White to move, mate 2. White to move, mate 2. Okay, I'll give you one more minute to look at it and then we'll work on it together. Would you like to help with doing some puzzles? We can do some puzzles if you're interested. Okay. And you're more than welcome to help out if you have any lines. Because because we're just going over these. These are, oops, I have to enlarge this. There we go, nice and big now. I forgot that it takes you have to do this little tab down here to enlarge the screen. Yeah. But you know what? Hey, when you have a gift the Lord's given you, do you want to share it with others? At least that should be the how one feels. That's how I feel. So, let's see here. Okay. Yeah, we do the puzzles as Team Chess Cruncher as a group, as a team. We do them. We do these puzzles. Let's see here. Oh, white to move. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Oops, I need to put a 2 in there. Hold on. Alright, 2 move. And mate 2. There we go. God, wanted to get the spelling right. Okay. Let's see here. Knight. Actually, if you think about drawing the king, think about this, that you're on the right track. One move too soon, though. How do you secure a smother mate? An open smother mate. Yeah. How do you secure a smothered mate here? It's mate and 2 for white. Yep, rook g8. He takes. Then knight f7. Yep, this is called an open smother mate. It's called an open smother mate because there's a spot that he could flee to, but because it's covered by our rook, and there's like this, we have enough for a smother mate because of the knight. Great work there. Alright, onward and upward to the next puzzle. Right there, let's see, king, queen, rook. I think he's got a pawn right there, yeah. And 1, 2. Rook, king, and then he's got 1 knight. Let's see here. Yeah. All right. We're good to go here. Same. They're all white to move mate to this. This one's a pretty unique one. Don't think too hard about it. Think of an open smother mate for that white can land on black. Do you have any ideas? Any move ideas? Yep, you got it. Kaboom. That he takes. And so what's the move? What's the next? What's mate in one? Mate in one. There we go. Boom. There's we go. Okay, dokie. Okay. Right there. Two pawns here, here. Oops. Let me see. Well, let's see. Oops, wrong spot. Well, it's just practice. A lot of practice. There we go. Mate 2. Let's see here. Let's see what do we got. Okay. Let's see here. Looking for. I'm gonna make sure. Did I put it in right? Oops. Sorry about that. Hold on. Hold on. I knew there was a problem. 1 second. 1 second. The knight was in the wrong spot. I don't know how it slipped down there. Sorry about that. That was my fault there. Okay. Boom, boom. Good. Now everything is right. Now we're good. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense now. Okay. Now this is again mate and white mate and 2. Oh, darn it. The rook's in the wrong spot. How did this happen? I can't believe that. That is so weird. I had all my pieces right. I don't know why it does that. Sorry about that. Again, mate 2. My bad there again. Because now Now, let me make sure that the computer, that there's no error. Okay. I don't know how that got missed. I don't like when I make mistakes like that. That's not fun. Especially when you're trying to figure it out and there's a hiccup there. So we don't want that. Let me see here. Okay. That's good. That's good. Okay, everything's good. Let me see here. Some of these, they're mate and twos, so as far as I can, yep, mate and twos, still mate and twos. So there's, you just have to find a mate and two idea here, like maybe something like that after he takes there, maybe something like that. Oh, okay. There we go. Now, here we go. Now you got it. Now this is right. I don't know how the pieces got so muddled up there. There we go. So there we go. Here we go. Sometimes when they're separate like that, that happens. I don't know why I messed that one up. That was okay. Okay, so basically the idea is a rook sacrifice. You sacrifice your rook. When the knight takes back, it clogs up a square, and it also surrenders c5. So you have the idea of checking here. I'll make sure I do better on the putting in of these other ones. I don't know what happened there. I'm usually better not making mistakes on those. I'll make sure before I post this that it's 100%. Don't worry, I won't have that happen again. We'll make sure. I'll make sure this is 110% right, because I want you to enjoy it. I love doing puzzles. Puzzles are so fun, but you got to have them set up right. Okay, let me see here. Okay, let me make sure, just 1 second. Give me a sec so I can see. Okay, so nothing on this file. Perfect. So there. Perfect. So far so good. So far so good. So far so good. That's good. Okay, so there's pawns for black on f7, f6, bishop on f5, rook on f3 for white, rook on f2 pawn for white, f2 pawn for, g2 pawn for white, and g4. Yep, everything looks like it checks out here. So far so good. No errors at all. Yeah, I used to play live games on the stream, but I found that it leaves out a lot of viewers to be able to participate in enjoying of chess. I thought, what would be a good what would be something good? Now we do puzzles, and then we go over our end game, and we have fun there. But I've done games. So yeah. Okay, here we are. Oh, this is a fun one. This is an interesting one. This one might be a little difficult. I know you can solve this though. Just think of a piece sack. Think piece sack. And then mate with a pawn. think peace, sacrifice, and pawn mate, and that should you should be able to find it then. Yep, there's sacrifice the rook, pawn takes, and now what's the mate? Where's checkmate? Yep, there we go. F3 is checkmate. There you go. You got it. Nice job. Yeah. You had to find the sacrifice though. So that kudos to you on that. Oh, so we have a queen this time. And 2 pawns here. And then a king. Oops, don't want to forget about our sniper, our bishop sniper. Okay, 2 pawns here, 1 pawn there, 1 rook here, and then a king there. Just give me 1 second to make sure that got it so far. Got that. Perfect. Okay, we're 110% on this. We got it. Same thing, mate 2 for white. Let's see there. Just want to make sure. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yep. All right. Perfect. Now we got this one. This one's a fun one. It's a pretty unique one. This one's unique. You just have to think outside the box a little bit. Have you seen the opera game that Paul Morphy played? Very similar type of position. Think opera game. The opera mate that he set up on the alliance, think the opera mate, and you'll be able to find it. Oh, Paul Morphy played against Duke and Earl, and he sacrificed his queen, and he ended up mating with a bishop and a rook. He ended up mating with a bishop and rook, so he had to sacrifice something. You have to sacrifice something to do a mate that Morphy did against the at the opera, and there was something called the opera game. And he mated with a bishop and a rook. He had to sacrifice something though. So just think of peace sacrifice. How do you sacrifice so you can mate? It's a these are forced mates, so they're all force, all by force. Mate in 2, yeah. Mate in 2, sorry. Yeah, I should. Yep, I'll put that in there. There you go. White to mate in 2. It's a pretty cool mate that this is. Take a look at this. How do you get mate here? How do you get mate on G8? How do you create mate on G8 for black? How do you create a mate on G8? What do you have to do first so you can get mate on G8? What piece do you have to sacrifice? This is where you need to checkmate your opponent. You have to figure out a way so that you can checkmate your opponent on this spot there. There you go. Boom. Rook e8. Smack. Check. And then checkmate. Yeah. Yep. There you go. That's the Morphe's mate setup. I like how that one was set up. That was cool. Okay. Let's get onward and upward. Alright. Okay, let me make sure I got this. Yep, got that right. Got that right. Got that right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yep, there we go. No, you're not dumb. Oops. Hold on. Uh-oh. Hold on. I gotta... 1 second. Uh-oh, I think the battery went out in my mouse. Oops. Better get a new one. I'll be right back. Okay. battery was dead. It's okay. Hey, you know what? You're not dumb as long as you I remember from the Night South Bronx when they said that. Did I already get this one put in? Yes. They said that if you win a game of chess, nobody can call you dumb. So, if you won one game of chess, you're not dumb. Here's a fun one. This is a fun one here. Yeah, my grandmaster teacher never let me ever say that because he says that because you've won against high-rated opponents and you've won in chess, that you're not ever that. He says you're smart. You just haven't seen that position before, and you're learning. All right, this is a cool one here. I want to see if you can solve it. This is a fun one. This is a really fun one. And if you need any hints, just say I need a hint, and I'll do my best to give you a hint if you need a hint. Oops, sorry, I should put in what it is, huh? Do you have an idea? What do you guys think the move might be? This is actually a fun one for white. I like these type of piece sacrifices. You know, you get to use them all the time. I'll give you one more minute to solve it on 9:18. Then we'll go over it. So you have until 9:18 on my thing. So I'll tell you, you got like 30 seconds, and then we'll go over it. There you go, Queen D7. There it is, perfect. Queen D7. Knight takes. And where does the rook go? Rook, yay, there you go. There you go. There's the mate. Nice work. Is my console, is it lagging again? Let me see. Yeah, it does have a kind of, oops, it does have a little bit of a lag. Sorry about that. Yeah, you're doing it. We're doing it. We're a team. Team Chess Cruncher. Let me make sure I have this right. Yep. That's good. 3, 2. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Yep. All right. And onward and upward. Okay. Mate in 2 and I'll post it. There we go. White to mate in 2. I just want to make sure that how the stream's doing. Oh, perfect. Okay, so the stream's good. Just wanted to make sure I was sounded okay. All right. So mate in 2. Do you kind of have an idea? I'll give you a minute to think about it. Think piece sacrifice. Think rook sacrifice. What is a rook sacrifice? Which rook sacrifice? Yeah, there you go. There you go. King takes, and then rook e8. Mate, yep. There you go. Great job. Great job, team. And we lost Chris. Drat. I wish he would have stayed on. Seemed like a really nice person that could have with chess and fun and all that. Thank you, J Triple T. I think is that 4T's, 4TJ, for staying on and participating and helping out. Let's see, let's make sure they're there. I have to put a king. So there. Yep, there you go. Come on. There we go. Oops, hold on. Well, I'm sorry. It was a black queen. Yikes. I don't know how that white queen got there. Hold on. Yikesies. How did a white queen get there? That's really weird. Huh, it's okay. So it's white to mate in 2. White to mate in 2. Think rook sacrifice. And you got it. I'll give you 1 minute from 9:27 here. Give you 1 minute to choose, and then we'll go into it. You got it. Rook takes d d8, check. king takes d8, and then rook to e8 is mate. Nice work. Nice job, team. We're doing it. Come on. Come on. Let's get this going. Give you till 9:30, and then we'll solve it. Alright. The function is rook f5, knight takes, and then g5 is checkmate. Excellent job, team. Great work if you solved that. If not, you're always welcome to stop it, like, because I download these to YouTube. Stop it just before I'm about to do it and try to solve it yourself, and you'll find that it, oops, no, I don't want that. Clear the board. I don't know why I did that. Alrighty then. No pawns for white. No pawns for white. No pawns for white on the board. That's what I mean. Okay. Wow, this is not looking too good for white, not one bit. But there's a mate, so surprisingly, there's a mate. 3. Nothing. 3. Oops, almost forgot a bishop. That would have helped. There. Let's try it again. There. Got it. There. Okay. Alright. White to mate in 2. I'll give you a minute to think about it. And if you need some time and you're watching like a pre-recording on YouTube or anything like that, just click stop now and try to solve it yourself, and then you can always start it back up and see how you do. This one's a little tough. I'll give you one more minute to think about it. This one's a tough one. Okay, I'll show it to you. Rook f5, h5 if he goes g4. Then queen to h4 is mate. And if he takes, then bishop f3 is checkmate. Good job, team. Excellent work there. Alrighty. So far, so good. Alright, there we go. I'll give you 1 minute to see if you can solve it. And remember, if you need time and you're watching the pre-recorded one, click pause and try to solve it yourself. Mate in 2. White to mate in 2. There you go. Hey, nice to see you, chess. There you go. One more, and then we start our end the game. There were a couple tough ones that I think you would have really liked to have gone over. Oh, if you wanted to go over like any of the puzzles, I just downloaded them. I think I downloaded them yesterday to Chess Cruncher on my on YouTube. Chess Cruncher, and you can look up and go over the puzzles again and again and again if you want to. Go to that part of the stream if you wanted to. So they've been downloaded. Yeah. I just wanted to let you know because I've kind of been bad about not uploading them like I should, so I'm going to try to do that more often. And if you'd like, they're over there you can look at. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Alright, perfect. Yeah, good. Good. This is our last one. And then we get to do endgame, and we get to start a new chapter. Hooray! I love doing the endgame. It's so much fun. Okay, I gotta erase this and put a star by our next area we're going to do tomorrow. Yay. We're making good headway. Let's get dangerous. So knight e2, bishop takes e2. Is it knight takes d4? Is it knight? Oh yeah, there we go. Yep, there it is. You got it. There we go. There we go. Okay. We get to start a whole new section. Part 8. The chapter is called Cat and Mouse. Gotta love it. Gotta love that. You finished? This is when we have to do this. We're reading now. Yeah. You finished part 7. Now you should have a rich foundation in all endgame bases. Of course, you will add to that knowledge by experience and any added study you feel like doing. So if you have when you have the Jeremy Silman kind of knowledge on board, you then can actually go to an endgame book, maybe by Reinfeld or whoever, Horowitz or whatever, and look at that now, and you'll be able to absorb it and see the beauty in the endgame. Okay. Though there is always a place for mastering complex position, rook and pawn, queen and pawn, and king and pawn endgames have unlimited depth. The need to shore one's opening and add to one's middle game skills forces the 2200 level player to take more basically patience and approach at this concept. Memorizing finally takes a back seat to simply understanding. So I need to do that. Memorizing takes a back seat to simply understanding. So what you need to do is actually understand what's going on in Jeremy Silman's book. See, you don't want to be a parrot and memorize lines, because what will happen is you'll get into a chess game when you're facing really high level players. Could be IMs, Grandmasters, FMs, NMs, could be any one of those. And you get in there and you forget your line. You don't want to do that. You want to have an understanding of the line. Even Grandmaster Simon Williams talks about that. One second. He says that you need to actually if you want to do an opening, you want to take that opening and go as far into the end game as you can, because then you can see how it changes and metamorphosizes the pawn structures and then all the different types of setups. Is one thing you need to round out one's endgame skill, though, is taught. Sorry, let me read that. Memorizing finally takes back seat to simply understanding. Is the thing one needs to round out the endgame skills taught in this book earlier, in the parts. That's basically what he's saying. He says it is taught earlier, and some of this stuff is. And then he did here. We're focusing on 6 concepts that will enable the master to play many kinds of endgames with depth and flair. Depth and flair. So he's going to teach us how to backseat on memorization, understanding, and we're going to take the concepts that we're doing here and master them, go into depth, and then we'll be able to play an endgame and have confidence that we know where we're going. Like I always remember the scene of Alice in Wonderland for some chess players, when she's walking down the path and there's that dog that has the broom, and it's brooming basically where she came from, and then it goes in front of her and it brooms where she's going. If you don't have a good understanding, you have that dog that's right behind you, and you have that dog that's right in front of you sweeping the road that you want to go down. So that's what understanding tells that dog, no, I don't want you to sweep that road. I understand that road. Okay, this is cat and mouse. The art of doing very little as slow as possible. The chess basically having fun with your opponent at this point. Weak players usually deal with one move threats, while players who reach 2000 to 2200 try to impute every move with a deeper and more extensive purpose. In a normal position where the opponent is trying hard to show that his ideas and plans trump yours, every move should be filled with careful crafting design. However, from time to time, a player is blessed with a position where his opponent is helpless, doomed, passive, waiting while the stronger side prepares the decision to break, thrust, maneuver, tactics. In such situations, it's often a good idea to take your time, make small improvements in your position, and let the horror of the defense seem endless. The defensive task slowly seeps into his mind, basically, and his brain basically gets exhausted, and he'll make mistakes. This kind of punishment is known in the chess circle as cat and mouse. So this is a cat and mouse is when you get in a position and you slowly improve your position until basically they can't breathe anymore. It says if you make some pointed moves right away, your opponent will be expecting it. This is one that he's talking about, and will take appropriate measures. However, if you basically move a piece around for a little bit, and you kind of you know how computers sometimes will move a piece back and forth maybe twice, just to kind of cause a human player to be like, what are they doing? Then on the third move they move something else. That's basically we're gonna get to be the cat. Well, before we're employing your grand scheme, so if you basically I'll set up in a kind of an example here. Let's see here. Let me see if I can let's see if he has one in his book here. Well, let me see. Oops, yeah, sorry about that. Just give me a second there. I'm just going to try something. And then basically this is and then I'll have not a knight. This should be good. Let's see. Yep, right here. And then I'll have a white king. This is kind of the example that what they're talking about here is in white to move, he checks. He checks. Alright, let me see. So that'd be 1. So 1. So 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, and then rather than do it, he queens like this. This is a really interesting one. He's done this, and then all of a sudden it's his turn, and then he finally does a mate. He finally does a checkmate like that. This is kind of the cat and mouse kind of thing for a while, and then they do their move. So he says, while you're employing your scheme, he will be lulled into a like a state and miss anything and everything you are intending. So if you do this move, and sometimes they'll miss a lot of different things. It'll be like, what? Yeah. And then optimizing your position. This is part number 3. Before undertaking a decisive move forward has to be useful. Usually one doesn't have the luxury of wasting time in this fashion. But if you have a huge advantage, if you have a big advantage, you can kind of just move your pieces around a little bit and basically, I don't agree with it, but kind of just play with your opponent. But that, I don't believe that. I don't believe in that. I think that's not smart, because that could lead to a stalemate if it's not. I shouldn't say smart. It is, because sometimes you have to move pieces around to get to certain things in an end game, like a closed end game. I understand that, but you always got to be careful. It's not a wise. I'll just say this: it's not a wise decision to, as they say, play with fire, because you never know when you're going to get burned. You might find that you're burning up too much time on the clock, in effect, to find the final winning maneuver. If another time control can be painlessly reached by treading water, thus giving added time in a safe fashion, grab the gift of a free minute with both hands. So yeah, you got to be careful though, because you never want to get. Yeah, exactly. Our first example features 2 famous endgame grandmasters, Paul Banco and this gentleman here. Paul Banco versus that gentleman, going head to head. With Paul Banco, his ability to inflict long and slow pain to his foes is probably like legendary. He would just grind his opponent down. Grind. Yeah, Jeremy Silman had to add this because it's part of chess. You're gonna have players that just won't. They just want to grind you down and basically take a pawn. They want to take all their pawns rather than just queening one and checkmating you. They want to queen all their pawns, and they'll do it relentlessly just to make you regret wanting to play them again. I found that it's better just to actually deal the final blow and move on, because think about it, if you have 5 other matches that you have to do, You don't want to waste your time doing that. And it's not a good thing to do, because then players will, when they play you, they'll be like, oh, you know, that type of a player. It's a cat and mouse player. Yeah. That was good. Okay, Banco had this to say about this position. Oops, sorry, I have to. It's white to move. There we go. I have to get this, and then I'll... Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's always, that's true. You got to, uh-oh. What happened there? Let me... I have to make sure that... Okay, still good, okay. And game 2, there we go. Ah, okay. Okay, oops, I gotta go back up here. Bango said this about his position. Black's dream is to trade the b pawn off and the minor pieces and play a rook endgame with 4 versus 3 on the king side. Such an endgame is usually drawn, because we know that, of course, we know that. Dreams are one thing though, and reality is quite another. I would never allow such a situation. I would never allow such a situation to come to pass. So he first plays the move knight to c5, rook a7, bishop. He could play bishop takes c5, and rook takes wins for white, because he has 2 advantages. His rook is more active than black's counterpart due to the need to defend b5, and he has a solid pawn. He's a solid pawn up on the king side. So this is winning right here. So white can't actually do that. I mean, black can't actually do that. So knight to d3, rook a1 check, king g2, rook d1, and king f3. White's winning plan is very simple. He intends to slowly improve his position, his king to go to e3, e4, or to e4, sorry. Gain space, defend the rook is a useful purpose. Defending the knight with the king, the immediate king e2, and then win the pawn on b5. If he defends with the king, he can. If he defends his knight on either e4 or e2, he can then play rook takes b5. So rook d2 to stop. This stops e2. e4 though now allows for access of the king. e4 prepares for a king to e3. h5. This move not only prepares h5, also attends to meet the king to e3 with actually bishop check. That's what this move actually does. So e5, I'm going to promote that. So that's that idea. Gaining space and gives white's king access to e5. He gets access to e5, e4, not e5. h4. Let's borrow a bit more from Benko. Another pawn is about to fall. So Benko tries another pawn is about to fall, so black tries one last idea. If he can trade as many pawns as possible, he might be able to sacrifice a piece for white's remaining pawns. So g takes h, rook d1, and then king to e2. The pin is finally broken, and white will get to eat the b pawn, giving him a powerful passer. So rook h1, we take here, king takes h2, rook b8, rook takes h2, h4, b5, king g7, b6, rook h1, rook b7, with the idea of playing for e6 and trying to win more material. Rook b1, f4, neutralizing everything. Benko is happy to solidify his position and keep black counterplayed to almost zero. The very tempting e6 would be responded to by g8, and if e7, then bishop takes, rook takes, and rook takes would have left white with only one pawn. Why deal with such a hard technical task when you can basically put the pressure on your opponent at your leisure? So f4 was played. King g8, king d2. Now this is the cat and mouse right here. Rook a3, king c2, rook b5, king c3, bishop f8, king c4, rook b1, rook b8. White's king is now nearer to the passed pawn. With all his pieces so well placed, the win must be just a few moves away. g5. Desperate, but the only opportunity he potentially could have is actually potentially going here, and then he finds that spaghetti-o, rook takes, king takes, and then knight b4, and rook c, and king to b5. Rook takes, oops, sorry, where's that? Rook takes here actually gets an exclam mark. It's a forcing line that wins on the spot, so black doesn't want to go down that route. F takes G5, King F7, Kerplunk. There we go. Rook takes the pawn. Black wasn't happy about King takes again because of knight b4, rook there, King b5, rook c8, and then knight to c6. And how you got to stop this? It's all over but the crying. If you try something like this, you push, and so there's no way to stop the loss of this. So he can't even bring his king in. So he'd have to basically move his king up this way here. And even if he played there, you could actually bring, and then if he moved here, and there's no way to stop any of that. So yeah. So 21, he plays rook to d8 here. Rook g6. Rook d7. King f8. Because if you were tempted to take here, you have a really bad surprise with this move here. Because now if you try that, you're in a kind of pickle, quagmire a little bit, I think. Let me see. And there's no way to really stop this pawn from going up the board. That's it. King f8. King d. Yeah, some of them I have to make sure the lines actually work, so you gotta be patient with me on that. We're gonna get this. We'll get it. e4. The game is clearly won, but Benko goes about it with extreme patience. Obviously, he can't allow the exchange of the last pair of pawns. But other than that, his goal is clear: to make the power of the seventh rook combined with a free-range king and knight to attack f7. So his goal is to go after this pawn with the king and with the knight and with the rook, and set up a mating net. Okay, rook g1, knight f4. Oh, it's not king. No, knight f4. There we go. Rook e1, king f5, rook f1, rook a7, because now he's passing the move. King e8, rook b7. Yeah, I think that's probably his idea. Cat and mouse. In a way, white is taking his opponent. And are you enjoying this? I certainly am. That's what he said, Jeremy Silman. He's like watching. It's like he's wanting black to move off. So this is kind of like horrible. This is sad. It's like, really, kind of a little bit of what the computers do. king e8, knight d5, rook g1, king f5, rook f1, king e4, king f8, knight e3, rook f2, knight to f5, king e8, knight check on e, king f8, rook c7, and then rook f1, king d5. Benko finally decides to put his opponent out of his misery. The king will march down the board and prepare to create a winning king pawn versus king position by sacrificing his rook and knight for black's rook and pawn. Rook d1, king c6, rook c, king b7, king takes, king takes. And if he tries to check here, king c8, rook f1, rook takes, check, rook takes, knight takes, king takes, and king to d7, and then you have a passed pawn that's winning on the spot. It's all over. Is there a difference between I don't really think so. I don't think there's a difference. Well, I think there is a difference. I gotta say there is a difference. Just in case, you got to see the example of what would happen if he potentially could, if we played king d7, which I think that might be a mistake. I'm going to give that a mistake mark, because then you can actually play rook f1, and then you're going to have to come back, and then after checks, if rook f, then you can actually set up this mating thing. Oops, I think that's drawn. Maybe you can just win it outright here, and then after king, there we go, that's it. Nope, delete this. Yeah. Yeah, it basically goes towards that type of a setup here. That what you're trying to do is trade off this pawn for this knight, and then queen. I was trying to set up the position right. King e7, knight takes, and the pawn will promote. If king, this is actually stopped here, so I'll put a square there. Only move. And what would happen if you played there? Then king d7, and there's no way to stop it. or if rather than that, king e6, then king to c6, and after that you can actually play here. You come up, you come over, you come there, he comes, and then you get the same position that you had before. Let's see how we do on time. Alright, I think we'll probably call it on this one, because Banco has another game of the cat and mouse that we're going to do tomorrow. It's again a longer game, but he says on final thoughts here, if you thought that game shows patience, he said let's let Banco take us even deeper into the world of cat and mouse against another great endgame player, the legendary Viktor Korchnoi. So tomorrow we will do Viktor Korchnoi. Banco as white and Viktor Korchnoi as black. That'll be fun. Yeah. So, alright. Do you have any questions on the cat and mouse type of positions? I actually don't like the term cat and mouse. I think they should, yeah. Alright. Then, okay. Then tomorrow we will be doing Banco as white and Viktor Korchnoi as black, and we're going to get to see how Banco basically slowly improves his position and wins against the mighty Viktor Korchnoi. I may be pronouncing that wrong, but you know what? He's still a great player even to this day. Okay, but you know what? What we have to remember is that if you have to slowly improve your position, do it. I don't like that it's called cat and mouse. I think they should say instead of cat and mouse, improving slowly, or something like that. That would be a cool chapter name, or how to patiently improve a position over a long game. But I think that'd be probably too big of a chapter, so they just call it cat and mouse. But that's the whole basis. It's not basically just constantly doing back and forth moves. No, Banco had a plan. He was maneuvering his king around, and basically when he was ready, he as they said, he pulled the trigger and won. And that's what a lot of chess players have to learn, is when do you do those pawn breaks and when do you trade. And you don't want to trade too soon, like what we're learning in our endgame with Banco. If he would have traded the pawns off and gotten down to a rook and two pawns versus a rook and knight, or one pawn and a rook, you never know what could potentially happen. But our whole goal is this, to, like what Bruce Lee said, there are no limits to the human potential. There are plateaus and you must not stay there, you must go beyond them. And the only way that we can do that is through the Lord Jesus. So we have to keep that forefront. And Bruce Lee said that knowing is not enough, you must apply. Willing is not enough, you must do. And he didn't fear the person who practiced 10,000 different openings or anything like that. He feared the person who practiced 10,000 different ways of setting up endgames, because you can have a kind of middle game. You might be even down a piece, but if you know your endgame, you can save a position. You can even win a lost position, as we have seen with like pawns and stuff. Even if your rook's trapped, if the king moves incorrectly and you know the setups, you could be unbeatable in the end game. That's what makes Magnus Carlsen such a great player, and Fabi and Nakamura. They know their end games. So even Wesley So, and even the young, talented players that are coming up through the ranks have a good end game as well. But you have to remember what Tom Thumb Thumb told Tango. Treasure your victories, learn from your losses, and remember that mistakes do not define you. It's how you handle the mistake that defines you as a chess player and a person. And when we sit down to do OTB over the board, you have to put on your Grandmaster calculating glasses. And what this chapter is teaching us is patience, the art of patience. And also the art of not just saying draw, 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 going for the win. That's what it's teaching us. But you know what? I know that you're talented chess players, my friends out there, because we're chess crunchers and we are talented. Hard work. There's a quote: "Hard work will win against talent, because talent won't work." That's sad to say, but when it comes easy, a lot of people take for granted. A lot of chess players take for granted the talent that the Lord has given them, and they just take it for granted. But what we have to remember is also that what we think about, we become what we think about. So if you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. Either way, you're right. So just remember, if you think you could do it, you will do it. If you think you can't do it, you won't do it. And either way, that path that you go down will end up becoming what you think about. But in the end, what we have to always remember is the Lord is in control. He is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And the one thing we have to keep in the forefront of our knowledge is that we're chess players. We're chess crunchers too. And when most are playing, and it looks tempting to do that, you can't spend a second twice. Where are you going to put that second? And when you're studying and most are playing, they come over and they say, "Hey, come on, do what we're doing." Nope, I'm a chess cruncher. And if they don't know what a chess cruncher is, you could say, like, what's a Tigger on Winnie the Pooh? A chess cruncher hangs up their coat, they hang up their hat, they sit down and study when most won't. A chess cruncher does. And that makes all the difference. And as Wesley So says for the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless. I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, evening, and Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. And we'll keep pushing forward, onward and upward, and we'll go over a Banco game versus as white and Victor Krochnoi as black. And we'll get to see how Banco patiently sets up a winning position. So, great job. Go Team Chess Cruncher. And always, always remember, bring the Lord with you into chess. 2 thumbs up. Great job. Hoorah. And I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Bye-bye.